Okay, I think we'll start now, and I would request that all of you you can switch off the video and also the mute the audios also at your ends, so that we can save on bandwidth. And I've also started recording this session so that you can. I'll share it in the group, and we can you can have other doubts and things clarified. And also those people who could not join in today, at least some 3-4 people have said they couldn't join in today for some unexpected activities. So that way we can support them also. That's good. So maybe oh, Mr. Ananda Krishnan, you are from Madurai. Okay, I was born in Madurai. My mom's family is from Madurai, actually. Fine, good. So we have people from different places. Maybe quickly, can you all type in from which cities you are in for everyone?
Hello there.
Bangalore. Welcome, Mr. Rana. Ashishwar from Ongole, Vijayawada, Madurai. Vinod is from Sivagasi. Okay, that's good. I'm from Coimbatore. And fine. So let's quickly now start with the session itself. Anyway, the introduction is part of the presentation too, so I think we can take it up at that place. So we are at day one of why insurance companies hate me, basically. But this session is not only on insurance. We'll be looking at so many aspects related to financial wellness as such. And basically, I am a mechanical engineer. I did it from MEPCO Schlenk Engineering College, Sivagasi. I guess Mr. Vinod is there from Sivagasi, in fact. And I bring the power of analysis and love for numbers to finance. That is my strength. So just a minute, I'll just pin this. Yeah. So that is the big advantage that I bring to finance. And I'm a specialist in finance too. I'm a certified financial planner and also a Six Sigma black belt holder. So there's a number of those analysis and other related love for numbers that I bring to the table for the benefit of my clients. So there's a lot of newness which my clients get from my detailed analysis and approach to different financial products and their, in fact, life situation itself in terms of numbers. So that is the advantage that I bring to my customers. So a quick introduction about me. Basically, I started out as a trainer on personal finance. And the learning started in the year 2002, in fact, after my daughter was born. So as a typical father, there is this worry about what do I save and where do I save for my daughter and all those kind of things. So, and that really set me in the direction of personal finance. And many learnings and questions and things. I kept asking questions, never got the right answers. So I dug more deeper and deeper and deeper into finance. That led to my certification as a certified financial planner. From 2008, I'm a certified financial planner, which is the highest certification in the world related to personal finance. And as a CFP, I take pride in not being an agent for any company. So that way I don't sell any products. And that gives me a lot of strength because I can recommend the right solution for my customer. If I were to be an agent, I will try to push that particular product, that company's limited products onto my customer because that is how I'm going to earn my money. But now, as a consultant, and as not being an agent for any company, I can recommend just what is right for my customer, and that is what my clients appreciate very much in me, and that is where they get a lot of benefits also. and that is where I'm able to bring the benefit which I have, which is the title of the program, this workshop: why insurance companies hate me. Because I don't allow my customers to waste their money on unwanted things, or things that did not earn them good returns, or does not serve their purpose in terms of good cover and so many things. So that is the basic thing that I actually don't do. I'm not an agent for any company, and that way I work for you, not for any other company. So that is a big strength. And in today's session, whatever analysis or company's details and other things I will bring in, they will be generic analysis where I would have compared many companies, and the juice of that, the 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 soul or the life of that will be shared with all of you. So that is how today's session will be. And I do offer implementation support, and I have uh, a paid consulting service, which we will discuss in the later days of the workshop. So this is how I've designed the 5 sessions for today. So the first 2 sessions will be on life and health insurance part. In the next 3 sessions, from the third, fourth, and fifth sessions, we'll be looking at how we can create asset. Because life and health insurance, they are one part of something called as financial wellness. They're not the end of it. So the other part is where we create sustainable assets and wealth, which will keep on giving us a livelihood, I mean, to maintain our lifestyle, and income to maintain our lifestyle. So that is where we will be focusing the most of the 5 days. So during this particular 3 sessions, again, being independent of any agencies or banks or other things, we will discuss about a whole variety of areas where we can look at investing, starting right from bank deposits, going into stock market, mutual funds, real estate, gold, whether I need to invest in that or not, the entire works, in fact. And we'll also be discussing, and I'll also be sharing sheets and other workbooks for you, which will be kind of homework for you to do, which you can share it with me before the next session, during which I'll be, me and my team, they will be giving you, we will be together be giving you feedback on what needs to be done and things like that. So this is a proper workshop. This is not going to be just a one-way training session from me. This will be a proper workshop kind of method, which we are going to be working on. So feel free to ask your questions and raise your doubts at whatever points. You can either put it on the chat, or you can unmute and ask your questions at that point itself. In case the answer will be covered later during the session, I will postpone it for that. Otherwise, I would definitely love to answer all your doubts at that point in time itself. Then there will be more. That's how I've realized that if I address the doubts at that moment itself, there is more value for you, and also more value which I can share from my side. So there's lots that I can share related to your queries and doubts. In fact, I am an expert on life insurance. I've written a course book on life insurance, which is running into some 300, 400 pages for Life Insurers Guild of India, for their training program called FCHFP. This is done by a Singapore-based organization, which is equal to the CFP program, but which is more used by a certification which is more recognized in the Asian countries. So I've written a whole textbook, a course book on life insurance. So feel free to ask me any queries. I'm there to support you related to that. So before we go into the detailed session, I have a small poll or questions. I'm just launching it now. Could you please answer the queries which is now there on your screen? Maybe take 10 more seconds to close the poll. Okay, so let's see the results. Fine, good. So for the question, do you have life insurance? As expected, yes, all of us have some life insurance plan or the other. And this is good. Nobody has said I was pestered by my relative, friend, or colleague to take it up, which used to be the case when I was looking for it. I'm very happy. Most of you are, I mean, the participants today, all of you are highly evolved, where you have said protect family if I'm not there. How much cover do you have? Okay, only one person has 10 to 20 times. Two of you have 5 to 10 times. Others are all much lesser. Expected return 7 to 9%. Oh, that's 3 people. Less than 5% is 4 people. Okay, fine. That's good. Okay, so that's a realistic thing. Good. So now let's see where we stand and how we can take it up. So the current scenario, most of you have gone in for this third part, which is protection of loved ones, which is fantastic. Otherwise, typically we've been looking at cases where it's been taken for tax benefit or investments and savings and things like that. Now let's look at whether this purpose, and I think some 50% of you had said it will be for the future. So let's see if this purpose of investment is getting served here, because many of you have said it will give you returns of 7 to 9%, and some of you have said it will give you some 5% and things like that. So let's see in terms of where these investment related plans are, which are those insurance based, investment based plans are. Different types, and then we will go into each type of plan. So these list the children's plan, children's ULIP plan. ULIP is basically unit linked insurance plans. Endowment plans with limited pay and endowment normal pay. These are your typical Jeevan Shrees and Jeevan Anand, those kind of plans. And then you also have pension plans today in the market. So these are the type of plans where they will say, okay, you start paying a premium, and at the end of the term of the insurance plan, you will get back some money. And typically for the children's plan, what happens is that you start paying some premium, maybe typically once the child is born, and by the time the child reaches her, let's say the 10th standard, she is 15 years old or 16 years old, you will get back some money. And when she goes into her 12th standard, again you will get some money, maybe when she's 18. And then when she goes into college, again you will get some money. And that is how these plans are divided. Sometimes you will get it 3 times, sometimes 4 times. So that is how these children plan are designed in insurance terminologies. Typically, they are called money back plans. A children plan is a modified money back plan. A typical money back plan will give you income once in 4 years or once in 5 years, irrespective of any such date-wise thing. So they are just plain money back plans. So now let's start looking at different plans and how they work. So now, are you able to see this spreadsheet? Some of you can either, yes, okay, fine, thank you. So here, what we have here is a typical children plan, an endowment type traditional plan as it is called, where the sum assured is 5 lakhs. So which means in case the parent is not there, then the family will be given 5 lakhs. So that is the basic purpose. That is where the sum assured comes in, which is the life cover basically. And for children plan, there is a typical rider, which is called income rider, income benefit rider, income rider cover, those kind of things. And this is some term that you will very often hear of when we talk about life insurance plan. It's called a rider. So let's, before we go into this income rider, let me take some time to explain what this rider itself means. So let's take it with a car kind of a system. A car will need a driver. So that is the base plan. So to run a car, if you look at the mileage of a car, for the driver to be there, we are talking about some base mileage, right? So let's say it gives me 15 kilometers for a liter. Okay, so that is the basic cost for running that car. So that is the basic cost. Now, when I have one more passenger driving in the car, will the mileage drop drastically? Will the cost increase significantly? No, because the base is already covered. So by adding one more passenger, there will be a small additional cost for carrying that passenger, but the benefit is significantly more. Because instead of 1%, now I have 2%. So that is a big benefit that we are talking about. So similar thing is what happens in insurance plans also. The base already is covered. So you are already paying a premium for the base plan. And when I take an additional rider, like the additional passenger there, for a small additional cost, I can get some big benefits. So that is where the riders come in. So typically for insurance plans, you might have something called as a accidental death benefit rider or accident related disabilities rider. You would have something called as a critical illness rider. And this one is typically for a children's plan, where we call something called as a income benefit rider. So what the income benefit rider does is that in case the parent is not there, then the not only is the sum assured given immediately, but the plan is kept alive. So the future premiums are also paid by the insurance company by activating this income benefit rider. So the plan is still alive. So all those intermediary payments that we had planned for, let's say 10th, once my daughter finishes, I should get some money. When she finishes 12th, I should get some money. So those monies are also will be coming to the family when we activate the income benefit rider in a children's plan. So that is how this comes up. So in this particular case, there is a sum assured of 5 lakhs for basic sum assured, 5 lakhs for the income benefit rider also. Term is 21. So basically, we were talking about how it matures and things like that. So 21 is when the child typically finishes college. So till the child finishes college, this is going to be there. And the premium payment term is only till the age of 16. So by the time the child enters 10th, the premium need not be paid. You pay only for 16 years. And after that, some regular income will be coming in. So that is how this plan is designed. So the premium that you pay is roughly around 43,000 rupees. And maturity, in case you survive and go ahead, then the totally cash payouts will be somewhere around 14.17 lakhs. Sounds good, because in case of the parent not being there, then 5 lakhs is given immediately, then the cash goes on, and the child's, all the plans are set, right? Sounds attractive when you look at it from, maybe before the session. Now, when I calculate the returns on the plan, how much I invest some money, how much money am I getting back? When I do that, I realize that my return is only 5.2%. Is that enough? 5.2%? You can maybe put it in the chat. Definitely no. Why is 5.2% not enough? That again we need to ask. Why is that not enough? Because today the inflation rate itself is much higher. Exactly as Mr. Vinod has put in. Definitely no, because inflation rate is all itself much higher. When we talk about the official inflation rate itself, we are talking about somewhere around 6%. But if you consider food inflation and things like that, then we are talking about a 2-digit inflation. 12% kind of things is what is happening to the food related inflation. Okay, so when I'm talking about 5.2% as the actual returns, then what does that mean? It means today I'm giving the insurance company 100 rupees worth of purchasing power. At the time of maturity, I'm getting back something less than 10 rupees in terms of purchasing power. I mean 100 rupees in terms of purchasing power. Do you get it? I'll repeat it again. When I'm paying the premium, I'm paying premium worth 100, let's say 100 rupees of purchasing power. When the money matures and comes back to me, I'm not getting even that 100 rupees. I'm getting something less than 100 rupees worth of purchasing power. And that too after 21 years, after 16 years. So is it worth putting that money in there? Yes, it would have grown up, but is it worth the purchasing power? No. So that is what we need to understand. That is the critical thing in this case. 5.2% is not enough. Second, let's look at the ULIP based plan. ULIP is where it is not traditionally, when we look at the traditional plans, most of the investment goes into your government bonds and corporate deposits and things like that. There are rules and regulations which says where this money can be deposited or invested in. Today, in a traditional plan, the maximum amount of investment in a stock market or other new investment areas is only a maximum of 5 to 10%. Rest of the 90%, some 60% has to compulsorily go into government bonds. The government bonds will not give you more than 6%. And rest of it can go into corporate deposits and things like that. So only around 30% of the money is actually giving you somewhere around 9%, 8% kind of things. And less than 5 to 10% is giving you that 12% or something like that. So, and in this you have other maintenance expenses, payment which will go into your agents, maintenance and all those other things. So ultimately the maximum return that we are able to make is only 5.2%. So that is where again the question comes in. Okay, now why not I go in for something like a ULIP, a unit linked insurance plan? A unit linked insurance means I can always invest in the stock market. So that will that not give me better returns? Let's see what will happen in a ULIP plan. Here again we are talking about 5 lakhs, same 5 lakhs here, term of 20 years. Again you continue to pay for 20 years, premium of 50. Maturity amount is more in terms of 16 lakhs and odd. But when we look at the returns, it is not so good. Why is the return not so good? See, I have taken Mr. Rana. No, I will not be sharing the Excel sheet, but I will be sharing the video. So you can again clarify things from the video. See, this is a sheet which talks about this is called a benefit illustration. I've taken it copied and from a benefit illustration, where it says what happens to this 50,000 that I pay as a premium. So towards the end of the period, and this maybe it is lesser before that, 50,000 is the annual premium that I pay. This mortality charge is what goes for the insurance cover, because the company is giving you insurance cover for 5 lakhs for the base cover and another 5 lakhs for the income rider cover. So for that there will be a charge. So that is the charges here, this mortality and morbidity charges. Other charges will go into fund management, agency charges and all those other charges which the company will have. So they are transparently showing it. ULIP will show all these things transparently. The traditional plan does not show anything. So we think it is a better one. No. The charges on a traditional plan will maybe typically be much higher actually. In a ULIP plan, at least we know how much the charges are. Now see, there are some other charges, and there is GST also, because once there is charge, and there will be GST. So together, when you add all these charges, we find that out of 50,000 that we pay, on the 17th year, 26,000 and odd goes into charges itself. So as a percentage of premium, some 50, more than 50% goes into charges. So less than 25%, less than 25,000 actually goes into investment. The last year, almost 70% goes into charges. Only the balance actually gets invested. So where will I get the returns? If 70% is the charge, only 30% is invested, how can that grow? So these are the questions that we need to ask. Even in a ULIP, your money is not going to grow. So that is where the returns are going to be so less. Does not serve the purpose. These were the children plan. Now let's look at some endowment plans now. I'll open up the chat again. I had closed it because I wanted to see this. Okay. Fine. So endowment plan, limited pay. So which means again, I pay for a shorter period and then I get some amounts at a later point in time. So here again, we are talking about 3 lakhs as sum assured, and also I've taken 10 lakhs as sum assured, how much they will get and all those things. So here we are again talking about 5.42% or 3% and things like that. Does it serve the purpose? Definitely no. But when the agent pitches it to you, they will not talk about these returns. They will only say, sir, you pay only so much, but I will give you so much more. So that is where the Maya works. They say you pay only 3 lakhs, but I'll give you 7 lakhs. So we think, okay, my God, this guy is going to give me so much more. It sounds attractive, but no. Endowment plan, full pay, 10 lakhs sum assured, we pay something, and then you get back close to 40 lakhs, sir. Fine, but what is the net of return? We are talking about 5-6%. Doesn't serve the purpose. Pension plans. Now, this is the biggest negative thing actually. So here pension plans again are sold like hotcakes by insurance companies, wherein they say, okay, you pay only this, I will give you that, and so many things are actually promised by the insurance agent, saying this is guaranteed returns that you get and all those things. See, I've taken a 1 crore plan, okay, for a person who's just retired, 58-year-old person. Surviving period is 41, let's say. We have taken up to 99 years, okay, till the end. Look at the monthly pension that this person can get. And there are some jargons also here. ROP means return of premium. So joint life return of premium, which means, let's say I am the person who's putting in that 1 crore. Then till my life, it will be given to me. And in case my spouse survives after that, my wife, then it will be given for the life of my wife also. And after that, this 1 crore will be given to the legal heirs. So that is how this works. Okay. And this is life ROP on death. So it is only for me. And after that, the money will be given to the legal heirs. And this is life ROP, life return of premium. But return of premium will happen on critical illness, on death, or partial disability or permanent disability. So for multiple clauses, the money will be returned back. It may be because of diagnosis of a critical illness also. Maybe there is a heart attack or liver damage or something like that. So based on that also, money will be given back. Now, I can also say I don't want the purchase price back, but give me more amount. So this is what they are going to give back. When this 1 crore is not given back, okay, so till life, what is given? This 56,000 is given monthly. Joint life for both the people, me, and then after that, my wife, and after that, no money is given. That 1 crore will go to the fund manager. So then some slightly more amount is given. But again, when you look at all these things, look at the returns rates: 5.87, 5.8, 6.2. And the critical thing that we need to look at in all these things is that all these payouts comes to you as pension, which means they are not insurance payouts. So they are not covered under one section called as Section 1010D. We'll discuss about that later, tomorrow maybe. So not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, the next session. But these are coming out to us as pensions, which means the entire amount that you get, that will be coming under your tax net. So these are taxable as income in our hands. They're not capital gains. They're not any other things where the rate is again fixed. These are coming in as income. So we have to pay the entire income tax on these monies. So that is the critical part with respect to these. So we'll come back to this sheet. So have we answered this question now in terms of the typical traditional insurance plans? Do they serve the purpose of investment? Any doubts at this stage? Fine. So we'll go to the next one. So the purpose served, the second one should be for family protection, right? Most of you have said, yes, I've taken insurance for protection of the family. Okay, Mr. Kasi has a request, has a doubt. Pension amount is taxable or total amount? Pension amount is taxable. And at the time when this 1 crore in this particular case, when that is returned to the legal heir, that also is taxable. It does not come under Section 1010D. Nope. It does not come under Section 1010D. So the person who's receiving it from the pension corpus, that corpus is also taxable. It is not. It does not come under exempt. It is all taxed. Corpus is also taxed in the hands of the receiver because that is going to the legal heir. Fine. So, and all these insurance plans, we are talking about 5 lakhs cover, 10 lakhs cover, those kind of sum assured. So, does it serve the purpose of life insurance itself? That is the question that I have. What is the purpose of life insurance? Purpose of life insurance is, in case I am not there, then the insurance amount should be able to cover for these 3 things which are there on the screen. The family expenses, I am there. When I am there, I am earning some money and then giving it to my family. So when I'm not there, the insurance funding, funds which I'm getting from the insurance company, that should be able to do this. Otherwise, there's no purpose of insurance cover. Will it at least cover the loans that I have? And most importantly, will it help the family members to cover the goals that we are planning for, the dreams and goals for me and for my children, for my spouse? All those goals, are they getting covered in the insurance plan? These are questions that are very important. So when we talk about 5 lakhs cover and 10 lakhs covers in today's life, they don't serve these purposes at all. So now we need to understand how much is the minimum insurance that we need. Let's do a quick calculation. I will share this form also with you, with all of you. I'll put it in the group. Let's take an example for somebody who earns, let's say, we'll do maybe 2 calculations. Let's say somebody who earns 25,000 rupees on a monthly basis. Okay. And let's say he spends 2,500 on himself, because when you are earning, you do need to spend on yourself also, right? I have my friends, I go out, I have my vehicles and kind of things. I need some money that I can spend on myself also. So let's say 10% he's spending on himself, and he also is doing some savings for his own expenses. Let's say he wants to go out on a pilgrimage once in a year. Typically on the south, you go on a Ayyappa festival and things like that, something like that. So he's saving some 2,500 on a monthly basis only for himself, and 2,500 he's spending on himself again. So 5,000 does not go to the family. So this 20,000 which goes to the family, I've given it a specific name. I call it my monthly economic value. I don't say family expenses. I call it monthly economic value for my family. Why do I call that? That is because in case I am not there, then the entire lifestyle of my family is going to go for a toss if this 20,000 is not there. So that is how important this 20,000 is for this particular person. So whether this person is there or not, the 20,000 rupees has to go to the family. How can this go? Can this person get that 5 lakhs from the insurance company and then tell his wife that, okay, I have this 5 lakhs for you. You manage your life with that 5 lakhs. You start a business with that. You do some home-based business and earn this 20,000 rupees. Is it possible? Practically not possible. Why? Because if that was possible for the wife to do that, then when this husband is alive itself, she would have done that. Right? Starting that family business. When I am there, then I can support my wife to start that family business. When I'm myself not there, at that time, how can my wife go and start a family business as a small business on her own? Practically not possible. Or can I say, okay, today I am earning this money. After I am not there, you go to my company, get that job, and then you will earn that 20,000 rupees. Is that again practically possible? No way. There can be a case where people say, no, my wife is also working, sir. So she will anyway be able to manage on her own. Fine. That is fine. The double income family. Again, the question is, today, both of you are earning that together that money is able to run your family. If one of you is not there, can you manage the family's expenses with just one income? Not possible again. So which means anybody who is earning, that income has to be substituted for the family. That is most important. So in that case, this 20,000 is very important. So how can this 20,000 come to the family on a monthly basis? There has to be some amount coming from the insurance company, and that amount, the bank should put it into a fixed deposit, and that fixed deposit's interest should be equal to the interest, should be equal to the salary that expenses or after salary deductions and all those things that I'm giving to my family today. That is this 20,000. So to get that 20,000 on a monthly basis, how much should I deposit in a bank today? That should be my minimum life insurance cover. Minimum life insurance cover. How much does that come to now for this person? It comes to 40 lakhs rupees. Even for a person earning just 25,000 rupees and spending 5,000 on himself and giving the family and for 20,000 rupees, the minimum cover expected is 40 lakhs of rupees. Now, I'll share this document with you. You do the calculations for yourself. And then see as to how much minimum cover that you all need to have. I'll do one calculation for maybe 1 lakh rupees, just in case. For 1 lakh rupees, let's say personal expenses is 10,000 and personal saving is 5,000 rupees. Then for this person, the minimum cover should be 1.7 crores to compensate for this 85,000 that he is giving to the family. Now, there's something important that I want you to note here. we need to find out how many times of our salary or our monthly expenses we should have as the cover. How many times the monthly expenses should I have as the minimum life insurance cover? Can you do that quick calculation? That should be this 1.7 crore divided by 85,000. 1.7 crores divided by 85,000. Can somebody tell me how much that is? Very easy to remember when you're looking at your calculation and other things also. You don't even have to come to these. It will be 200 times in today's bank interest rate. I've taken today's bank interest rate roughly around 6%. So in today's bank interest rate, we will need 200 times our monthly expenses as the minimum life insurance cover that we should have for the breadwinner. Why do I again say minimum? That is because we might also have some loans. We'll have some other goal related expenses. For one particular client that I'm discussing now, he has a son who's only 6 months old. So when we are looking at planning for including the requirements for that child also in the life insurance planner, then we are adding 50 lakhs to that. Because there is so many fees and school fees, college fees, the marriage and all those other things, including inflation, all those things. So we need to add for a born child at least another 50 lakhs as life insurance cover. So those are things that we need to add to this particular calculation, which is 200 times our salary, expenses. I'm not even considering the total salary. I'm looking at monthly expenses, what I'm giving to my family actually. After deducting my own expenses, whatever I give to my family, that into 200 times should be the minimum life cover that we should have. That is the minimum. Apart from that, add the loans. If you have borrowed from friends, relatives, banks or whatever, add that. If you have taken a housing loan, then most probably that will already be covered under a diminishing term plan. That if you are having that, cross check whether it is covered for the outstanding principal, then it is okay. Otherwise, for the goals, again, we need to add. Any borrowings and other things, again, we need to add. So what is the right solution for all this? The term plan is the only right solution. All life insurance companies have term plans. Of course, the cost and other things will be different. And what gets covered in the term plan? Everything. Simple. Everything. In an accident insurance, everything is not covered. Let's take this hypothetical situation. Like there is a very old Tamil movie where they talk about this panchayat happening and this head of the panchayat saying, okay, this is not valid, this is not a valid representation, this is not a valid representation and things like that. Idu selladu. That's how he will say. So typically that is what happens in an accident case. Let's say somebody has died in an accident and there is a court like this panchayat kind of a thing. So the person who's defending the other person, insurance company, will come in and say, sir, this guy was driving on the wrong side. Judge will say, yes, selladu. I will not give you the money. The insurance company will come in and say, he was not having the driving license. Judge will say, yes, I will not give you the money. The insurance company can come in and say, he was drunk. Nothing can be paid. Okay. And wrong side, driving license not there, he was drunk, nothing. Even if he dies, and nothing can be paid, nothing will be payable. But when you are talking about life insurance, in the same case, the judge will only ask one question. Is this person alive or not there? If the answer is this person is not there, then the full amount sum assured has to be paid to the person, to the dependent families. That is how good the term plan is. This person may have gone on the wrong direction, he may not have license, he may be drunk, but if the life is lost, then the term plan will give the base sum assured is guaranteed. If you have taken an additional thing like accidental rider and all those things, that will not be paid in this case because he was drunk, he was not in the right direction, he was not wearing a helmet, not wearing the seat belt. Then those are different cases. But life is there or not, if it is not there, pay the basic sum assured. That is how good these term plans are. So what all are covered? Maybe even corona. All that question which is asked is the person alive or not? That's it. The cause is not checked out. In fact, the extreme cases, even if a person after taking term plan, after 1 year, even if the person commits suicide, even then it is paid. The question can come up, why would you pay for a suicide case? He voluntarily took off his life. The answer is, see, somebody will not in a planned way take up a term plan, in a planned way after 1 year kill himself. If this person has so much of brain and so much of planning and efficiency to plan and do all these things, then he will automatically solve his problem itself, life problem itself. He will not commit suicide. That is what the logic says. So he will not commit suicide. So even if somebody commits suicide after 1 year of taking a term plan, the entire sum assured needs to be paid. That is how good term plans are. But there are some things that we need to be aware of. There are alternate gimmicks. So if you are with an agent, he might come in and say, okay, it is a term plan, but I will give you back the premium after that, the end of the thing. It's a gimmick. It's like the saving plan, but again, the premium will increase significantly. It doesn't serve the purpose. Why should I pay something more and then get only the premium back? After all the taxes, after all the deductions, riders will not be given. What is the point? The difference amount I can always invest and make much more money. We'll discuss in detail about that in tomorrow and the next sessions actually. Always insist on a medical test and proper evaluation to be done. Today during COVID and other things, yes, medical tests are being a bit relaxed. They will do a telemedical and then get it done. Yes, you can go with that, but insist that there should be a proper medical test done. In fact, even during the COVID times, I've had clients where they've even done a treadmill test. Sum assured was so high that they were asked to do a treadmill. They've done the treadmill, policy are being issued. So better take the test properly, because remember, these are plans where to do the claim, I'm not going to be there. It is my wife, my daughter, my son who are going to be running around. At that time, the company should not say, if you had told me this, yeah, we didn't know that this person was so sick, why did you not tell me before, and all those things. If there is a proper medical test done, then it is the prerogative of the insurance company to find what was wrong with me. So that is where the medical test comes in. And these are plans of utmost good faith on the proposer, which is us. So insurance company believes what I'm saying. So that way, we need to be truthful for any negative events also which have happened in our life. Maybe there was some surgery. Maybe there was I had an accident, there was a fracture, and whatever other things. In case there was a negative event in terms of surgeries or accidents or whatever other things, mention that in the proposal itself. And today diabetes, BP are so common. Mention that also in the proposal. It is not going to happen that the insurance company will definitely come back and say, no, I will not give you the plan. No. There are people who have had diabetes who are being insured the plans, who have BP who have been issued plans. All those are possible. Even gallbladder stone. People have been issued policies, but there may be some conditions saying, okay, because of this particular problem, I will charge you some additional premium, but the cover is there. Fine, take it. Or they might say, okay, your diabetes level is a bit high, so I'll postpone it for 6 months. 6 months, you take care, take medicines, take some good healthy exercises, food and all those things, and then resubmit the application after 6 months. In case it is much more under control, typically they will be checking not only the blood sugar level at that particular time, but they will also be checking for your HbA1c and things like that, which will tell you what has been the last 3 months stage in our health related to diabetes and things like that, based on which they can decide that we are improving or we are stabilizing or we are going bad. So based on that, they can take a decision on whether to issue the plan or not. So it's not going to happen that it is a straight away rejection. No, it is always better to clearly declare in case there is any problems. We'll look at this in the maybe the next session because we are already close to 8 o'clock. There are some very special plans also when we are talking about insurance plans. This is something that we all need to be aware of, particularly gents when you are taking these plans. Declare it under Married Women Protection Property Act. Then what happens is the money will definitely go only to your wife and your children. It cannot be taken by anybody else. The first claimant on any of these your what do you call property or assets is your debtors, not your family. Remember that. If you have a loan, whatever may be that amount, small amount, big amount, doesn't matter. If you have a loan, it may be a personal loan, a credit card loan, housing loan, car loan, bike loan, whatever that loan may be. The first claimant on any of the proceeds from insurance, your bank deposits, any of those, in case I'm not there, is any of the persons who has given the loan to you. So when I have a significant loan and other things, then the even the insurance claim, the first person who can take away that money will be the person who has given you the loan. But when I declare the money, the insurance plan under Married Women Property Act, then even the debtors cannot claim that money. This will go only to your spouse and your children. Nobody else can have a claim, including your own siblings, your parents, anybody else. So that way you are protecting your loved ones properly when you declare it under Married Women Property Act. And this needs to be done at the time of taking the insurance plan itself. This cannot be changed once the plan is issued. So ensure that you declare that in the application form process itself. And ensure that your wife is also covered. I mean, typically, this is for gents typically. Ensure that your housewife, in case she is not working, get a cover for her also. You can always say, sir, anyway, she's not working. What are we going to protect? Because a housewife adds a lots of value in today's living. Imagine the plight when your wife is not there. You need to manage all your children and all your goals, house and entire things. It is practically not possible. You are definitely need to appoint somebody else. Your lifestyle, entire thing will be changed. And it helps if in case there is some money which will come in, you can appoint somebody to take care of all these day-to-day chores. So it is necessary for a housewife also, but there is a big social risk related to coverage for housewife. Have you ever heard during your lifetime that a mother-in-law died because of a stove blast? Have you ever heard? It never happens in our country. It is only the daughter-in-law who dies in a stove blast or fire and kitchen fire and all those things. Why does that happen? It does not happen by itself. That is a social evil under which the housewife is suppressed. So insurance company will not want to promote that. So what the insurance company says is, yes, there is an economic reason why I need to give cover to the housewife, but I will not just like that give it, because it may be misused. It can lead to death of the poor girl itself. So I will not be the reason for that. So what the condition they say is, the housewife should be a degree holder. This is a recent clause added. Earlier it was not there. Recently they have mentioned that it should be a degree holder. She should be a degree holder. And the husband should have definitely more cover than the housewife. How can it happen that for the housewife I want 50 lakhs, but the husband who is earning, he has only 5 lakhs? Then it is very clear case that this girl is close to her deathbed. I will not give it like that. Husband has 1 crore, I will give 25 lakhs for the housewife. That is fine. Okay, so that is how I will give it. So, and the maximum term plan cover for a housewife is only 50 lakhs. Even if the if the husband has 5 crores, 50 crores, doesn't matter. If it's a housewife, then I will give only 50 lakhs term plan cover. So we'll stop with that for today. I will also share this thing also. We'll discuss about this later. I just have one quick survey to get the understanding of today's this thing. Just to ensure that whether we are all in the same plane. Just take this poll, please. We'll just take another half a minute for the poll. Okay, now it is very important that I clarify some more doubts. Can I close the poll? I'll give you, I think some 2-3 more people needs to answer. Yes, Mr. Satish, most of the companies provide term plan with premium refundable. No, don't take it. Term plan means it goes away. That's what it is. In the next session, we'll discuss in detail about how the difference is, what I can do with that money, and how much it can grow actually by not paying that refundable this thing. That also will be an eye opener. Thanks, Kashishwar. You said you are able to look at new topics. Okay, I'll just stop the poll now and look for the results. I'm sharing the results now. Okay, so returns actually 5 to 7% is not right. I think this is an input for all of you. Only 1% has said that in a right way. Okay, 5 to 7% technically is okay. You do get 5%, 5.5%, and all those things. So I will accept that. How many multiples? It should be more than 200 times. No one has said that, right? So 200 times, yes, most of you have said. 200 times is the minimum cover that you need to have. So minimum wise, that is okay. So okay, fine. My question also is right. You are right. You are right. My question itself is asking only for minimum life insurance requirement. So I'll go with you. So minimum is 200 times. Correct. It is not 12 times. It is not 100 times. It has to be minimum 200 times. So your actual life cover should be more than that 200 times. And here, yes, all of you have answered rightly. It is to protect my family members and dreams when I'm not there. Perfect. Thank you. So let's have maybe all of you can now. I mean, that is the end of my presentation for today. In case you have any queries, you can just post it now, or maybe switch on your mics and ask for your questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for new topics and wonderful questions.
Thank you. So in the next session, what we will have will be that we will be discussing about where we need to invest related to, I mean, the insurance plans. Now we have talked about how we can protect ourselves our family actually. Now, it is not enough just by protecting my family. I need some money for myself also, right? When I'm there, I need some money for myself also. So what do I do? So that is one part that we will be discussing. The second part that we will be discussing will be related to health insurance. Again, related to health insurance, there's a lot of confusion and terms. They are not pitched properly and proper covers are not given. So we will discuss about health insurance also. And we'll also discuss certain other aspects related to life insurance plans also. Term plan insurance, we will discuss in detail. Term plan insurance, we'll discuss in detail. Alternative investments apart from this, so that when I'm there, I need to get some money, that part. And the third thing that we will be discussing will be related to health insurance. That is for Friday.
Okay. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Any other queries from today's session? And I will be sharing. Yes.
For example, currently we have some insurance plans.
Right.
What should we do about that?
We will discuss that in the next session, actually.
Okay.
We'll discuss that in detail in the next session. For that, what I will be doing is that I will be sharing with you two files, actually.
Okay.
One on what is the current, this sheet that we used today, that Excel sheet I will be sharing. Another sheet that we'll be sharing will be to where you can input your existing life insurance and health insurance plans.
Okay.
So that way we will understand where we stand related to health and life. And that will be useful for the next session. That will be the homework for all of you for before we meet again on Friday. Being a workshop, I will be giving you some homework on all days.
Sure.
Easy to fill, but all that you need to do is look into your documents and then transfer it into those places and other things. Any queries related to that, you are welcome to chat with me. I mean, some of these are definitely personal because it is all personal details and personal finance details. So I don't expect that you will put it in the chat, but you are welcome to address it to me personally in my WhatsApp, and I will address it to you. I will address those queries for you personally. Only what we can share, we will put it in the groups. So any of these forms that you are filling in, don't share it in the group because it is your personal data. I don't want it to be in the group. I don't want it to be personally. It is personal information. I don't want it to be there in the group. Forms which you can use, I will put it in the group. Your filled in forms, don't put it in the group. That is my this thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So, is it okay to close for now?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Fine. Okay. So, meet you on Friday. Good night.
Good night, sir.